Alright, let's get to the next map.
That should be exciting. I'm really thrilled to see if they're going to be in the finals and see if they're,
We're running our Ana Zen, which I hate running because I feel like we don't get enough value off any of our nano boosts ever. We end up landing some sleeps eventually, and that result in kills, but a lot of times those kills end up just being rezzed because we don't have Mercy to trade in rezzes, so we end up like getting picks and then they get rezzed.
Can they deal with him? That's the real question. We'll see what they're going to throw his way. We also have that Zarya coming out from the plug, so this should be
Tech is like
a
just
fun one
forcing
down
them
the
off high
west
ground or
side.
just poking at them, but
High
we
ground.
usually like to send a few more people up here, so we like force them to like get back,
Already getting pretty low. Scorch able to save
force them to all drop.
No enemy allowed. Looking for an entry.
This is really, really smart from No Enemy Allowed, just pushing that soldier back so he doesn't have that great angle that he's looking for. Now he's going to be forced off of that high ground completely.
You can see their soldiers like forced back. Forwards, again, playing too far forwards. Broken record at this point with that, but you can see like how we're forcing them all back into dark right now.
Multiple angles of threat, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like they're making the move. I think they need to be faster about this kind of rotation.
We lose our main healer, he gets hit by poke. See, I like also the fact that whenever we run Mercy, the Mercy can play on the high ground and like actually can like get out of the fight, because sometimes when you're on the ground you're just getting hit by too much. Where the Mercy can just reposition to the high ground because we have people on the low ground like by the statue and the high ground.
Looks like he should be able to get back in time. We're going to see a regroup come out from No Enemy Allowed. Not quite the push they were looking for here, because they weren't able to find any space, make any space for that matter. Find a way onto the point in about a minute there, so kind of pointless push for the time being. Paintbrush also going to get picked off. Got to wait for him to get back.
Yeah, we're getting staggered here.
They took the high ground away from Dantana, but they didn't take advantage of the angle that it created. This is their opportunity, though. Sugar Free going to go ahead and unleash that Riptire, sending it back into the back line here as Muller actually finds out.
This is how we usually end up just winning all of our first points, is like getting a flank with our Riptire or something, but you can see like we've kind of been just bogged down in the choke, like losing people, forcing with ults. We ended up using 2 ults that got no value, and they were just quickly nullified.
And what do you do? What do you change up? This time you don't have to worry about a Tactical Visor or the Valkyrie, but man, they are looking solid.
They're just so slow to make the rotations that are required with their composition. I mean, they found the kill onto Dantana, and then they just kind of sit there and wait for a Riptire pick. You already got the pick. Go!
Oh man, Hirix is
what the fuck is this caster, dude?
Graviton Surge comes up, but it's gonna be a Transcendence combating that one here. Reinhardt charges in, trying to disperse it. Transcendence.
This fight is all over the place. Like we're trying to fight them in dark. Our soldiers are still like taking the fight against each other on high ground. I guess their Mercy and Zen were just like way too far forward compared to the rest of their tanks, so.
What they need to pull it back here. So it looks like it finds the Mercy. I just don't know if that's enough. The D.Va, the lone survivor, will be taken out of the match.
Doesn't even matter that their soldier was like left alive for a lot of the fight because we were able to just pick him off.
Be able to go forward, but it look like they're opting to do just that. As
they're swapping up their comp to be a pretty strong triple tank with hit scan.
Just coming out of that spawn, so Sugar Free right now going to be surging forward, missing that little jump into the window, but still going to be putting pressure onto that.
Problem ends up being is that if in this situation, I would just tell my team to just force on them immediately and not let the Zarya get any energy, and then by the time we've hit the next fight, we have energy on our Zarya right now. We can just force on them and probably win the fight just straight up because we have ults, and we just watched 2 of their people on their team switch, and they used ults the fight before, so we can force on them immediately, get the ult advantage, and then force them to have like a really bad situation holding second.
Nikkei doesn't have a barrier going into this fight. They're not going to be able to push forward down this long street, and then when it comes to time to be able to contest them on a
we want to just get it picked quickly here
nothing to defend against it
and win the fight. We're giving them time to get Valk.
Nice and good here. Sugar Free coming out with a Riptire, see if he can grab anything for himself. Hirix. So kind of
ideally, we want to get the Mercy here if we can.
Okay,
we are able to.
I mean, most supports are off the board.
We get some stagger kills. The cart isn't pushed up enough for them to be worried because they're going to get another contest before second. The end of second if they actually regroup correctly. The benchmark is usually near in front of the pub whenever the cart's there. That's like the point where you need it to touch, or you don't want it to touch if you want to contest a second time. So you want to take a fight early or get wiped really fast so you can get a reset. So so they died soon enough where they can actually be here.
Tank setup that they have.
You see the Valkyrie come out there from the defense. Earthshatter comes out. The Graviton Surge, it connects here. They lay him
But you can
flat.
see like they've made a lot of swaps and they don't really have enough ults to actually contest us. Like they popped Valk here in like a really lost fight, and then we're still just killing them while they're popping Valk and rezzing people. And we're able to just really push in.
Second checkpoint confirmed here in just a matter of seconds. Dantana gonna try to make his way onto the point and just die off with the rest of the squad as it's scored by a couple more seconds. But they're gonna have
Tekka just
3:30 more
cleaned up the kills.
that second checkpoint. Qrex, plenty of time to complete this map, as we do see Apodix actually make a change over to that Roadhog.
And what might actually be more important is just the fact that they have a huge advantage in momentum coming from that ult economy advantage now that they have. And pushing forward, if they get around this corner, if this Riptire finds anything...
They swapped their comp up again. Like, they're making so many switches to their composition, they've never really been able to build ults. And it's just caused them to really get snowballed on this defense.
Cap finds that kill on the Moira, but still Sugarfree is still finding these kills regardless.
Man, they don't have
You can
a
see, yeah,
anymore.
they don't have anything. They swapped off their D.Va to contest the high ground, so they only have Mueller now. But he doesn't really have a good position to actually get to him. He'd have to contest from behind on the high ground, where we've done this play before where you can just bubble Sugar if he's ever getting contested, and he can just take that 1v1 and just win it every single time. So they probably wanted to stick with the D.Va. The D.Va actually helps them with their win condition of eating our Grav and contesting Sugar on the high ground, or Tekka, who is ever on the high ground. So it helps them more to stick on D.Va than it does to play Roadhog.
Even so, they went over that triple tank setup.
He ends up botching that kill on the Mercy.
And he does just that. Actually, the plug gonna get dropped off. Tactical Visor though coming out from Tekka once again. He just had it in the previous fight here. They are dominating across the board. Graviton Surge and
they end up just literally grabbing one. It's just paintbrush, and he just pops trance.
Down to 2 minutes and 35 seconds here. It's gonna be a trickle back to the point. The Earthshatter, the hammer is down, but no, a Riptire comes out from Molar, able to find.
I don't like where Tekka's standing right here. Like, he can just get shot out from the spawn. Like, it might be a good angle on the people on the right, but it's just really risky. They're so staggered, it doesn't even really matter though. Like, we're able to just keep spawn killing them.
Now it's back to the drawing.
You can see he basically panic graved there because they kept switching and not really having any ults to follow up on his, or a fight where he could actually hold his energy and farm a grav.
To a best of one, I believe, on like Lijiang Tower, but probably not the way they want to go out here. We'll see. As the defense, Sugarfree back on that Junkrat. He dominated across the board with it. This time around, Dantana currently sitting on the Widowmaker, seeing if he can find an early pick or two for himself. But Molar with that offensive Orisa here. They're going for a 5-10.
So, yeah, they end up running 5 tanks right here, and Sugar's in the perfect spot where you just watch his ult charge 17, 55, 75. Like, their tanks are just absolutely destroyed. You need to amp speed boost around this corner or on point immediately and just start the fight. You can't take this slow fight through Hotel. Like, ideally they wanted to go through Hotel, but against Junkrat I don't think it works. I think you just want to force onto point, just jump on their tanks and just try to one-shot them. I think once you see it doesn't work right here, you literally just, everyone swaps.
But that's obviously going to have to be swapped off of. They were trying to just throw a little cheese strat at these guys with the 5 tanks, but now switching it over instead to 4, and I think
they end up slow swapping right here, where they swap 1 and then 1 and then 1. Or I think it just should have been immediate. Like, they die and they just swap. But now they have triple tank and they have to build up energy and stuff, so this is okay for them. But we have our Riptire so early, we don't end up getting anything off of it, but it puts pressure on their backline.
Already coming out there, he's gonna get dropped here as Apodix actually looking to contest the high ground up against Tekka, able to make it to safety.
The Rhine's getting pretty bogged down right now. I don't like that Sugar is walking this far forward. Like, it's causing our tanks to actually be in a lot of pressure because they're walking far forward too. Everyone's just playing a bit too far forward, where we can play backwards because we have more poke, because we have more DPS heroes. We end up playing too aggressively. Like, we get a big shatter, but I don't like it. We should have played safer. We wouldn't have lost anyone, and we wouldn't have popped 3 ults.
I believe 3 ultimates dropped there from the defense, but
actually 4, because at the beginning of the fight, Sugar Free actually popped his Riptire. He's just back at 63 already.
I don't count that one.
Because he's already got it again. You know, I mean, he's back at it again.
Man. What do you even do? This guy Sugar Free has been unstoppable, and then when he doesn't find anything with the Riptire,
They haven't really been able to contest him right here. Like, their only win condition really is getting D.Va onto him while he's going for tires. They end up doing that here. We end up just pocketing him because we can see the D.Va fly in. That satchel ends up killing him.
A lot of support at his back here as the Transcendence come through. Pink Rush is going to keep Rampant Rhino in this fight with that Transcendence.
We used Trance to try to like save our front line here because we ended up, I don't know where Forwards is. Forwards is in the back too, but I think they ended up just like walking at us, and I don't know if they committed enough for us to use Trance. Like, we might have been low, but it seems like they were still saving Shatter and Grav. Maybe he used it for Tire. That's maybe it, just staying alive through Tire.
From M6 to solidify that. Now, moving forward, they have just under 4 minutes, but they have to go the distance here, and they only get a minute and a half extra time from getting that second point. And looking at this timing, it's just mathematically pretty much
I kind of failed eating grenades for energy.
A similar time, rather, to what they saw from No Name Allowed.
We have time to regroup here though, and because they had used Ryan and Zarya last fight, we have time to actually use our Grav. Coming up on a decent amount of ults.
Here in the streets phase, not bad by any means. Better than capturing an overtime like they did on Numbani 3 times in a row. Graviton Surge comes out, and they are gonna clean.
Yeah, that was pretty good, Grav.
Off the back of the Plug's ultimate setup.
It's a clean fight. We should set up probably a bit closer. That's good. Spamming them at the doors. Really don't let them come out.
5 ultimates for the defense. This is going to be a rough couple of pushes for the side of Malicious 6, who are coming up on absolutely nothing.
Those are some very impactful ults too. I mean, we should definitely.
Can't remember if Sugar gets contested on the high ground here.
Minute or so off the time bank here.
I think he pops Tire and gets killed by D.Va.
Tire now as it drops down. He's actually gonna have to.
Yeah, I don't know. He wasn't having respect for the D.Va. Like, if he wants to Tire there, then you have to use it on the D.Va basically, and just bait her in and then blow her up with the Tire. Otherwise, she's just gonna kill you, and you aren't gonna get as much value, where you're not in a spot to get rezzed. So I think he probably just should have shot grenades down there, maybe, whenever they were walking through the choke, and we should have played more aggressively over here with our front line, blocking them off so they don't have the room to like actually walk up and kill him. Where we just spam grenades and then you can just satchel out of there if he needs to. We can have Orb on him, but he was like line of sighting, and so we end up just losing him.
Shatter comes out. Rampant Rhino able to find one in.
Yeah, this D.Va ends up just winning this stuff. Like, we end up popping Valk, and I think we wanted to res Sugar. I can't remember if we do. I don't think we do. Like, we pop res way too late. Tech is out of position, so he ends up getting like killed by the D.Va one-on-one. And then we basically popped a Valk, but because 2 of our DPS have died indoors so far away, we'd have to end up spending like the majority of the Valk like walking around trying to res them inside the buildings.
No anime allowed, despite having a massive ult advantage here. It's 5-0. They end up dropping this fight, and they're going to be able to make a hold, or at least a contest here before they get the second checkpoint here. But excellent play coming out there from Malicious 6, taking advantage of that 5-on-6 situation.
I think Rampant Rhino 360'd that Earthshatter too. I'm pretty sure he actually did.
We have like a decent amount of ults to actually contest here though. Like, we should be visoring from the high ground. Like, this should be our win condition. It's having Junk and Soldier on the high ground and forcing the D.Va to fly up on us.
Somehow doesn't get hit by that Earthshatter, but now gonna be told.
But we end up just like all being on the ground, so we all get shattered and D.Va bombed.
Oh my goodness! The Graviton Surge pulled Rampant Rhino out of the way when the Earthshatter came down here. It's able to connect onto 2, and that self-destruct was perfectly placed. Hopefully going to see that as the play of the game in action once again. Beautiful play coming out there from the side of Dantana and Heppo there, Yurix. They've got themselves 305 to try to complete the map.
Yeah, we lose high ground control off that too. We contest. Alright. Good, we had this the Junkrat getting pocketed so we can contest their Junkrat. Force them back. And then we need to just control our own high ground and don't let them actually walk up at all.
In terms of just overall DPS, Sugar Free finding a late kill into Scorch there. The man himself with that diamond border, but as they pull back, again, Heppo, is he going to make a swap here? I think he's sticking to this. And I would continue to stick to this. It definitely is the best course of action, I think, for them at this stage. But now things are going to draw closer. 10 seconds until things are tied up time bank wise, but they still have a lot of ground to cover.
This D.Va just ends up flying way too aggressive to actually try to make a play. They nano him. I think they just panic nanoed at that point. Like, they didn't like that they were getting poked down as hard as they were, and you kind of just have to like sustain it and like actually walk up and try to put pressure on them once you're actually close. You can't fly in from that far away because you're just gonna get melted.
I don't know. I don't really like the odds of Malicious 6 right now here, because I mean they don't really have any ultimates to work with. You're down to 2 minutes, and you still have to win multiple team fights, and more than likely,
Like, you want a
if anything,
tool
maybe
to
get
contest this
overtime.
Junkrat up
Because
here,
it's
and
not looking
that
good.
just wasn't
Let's see if they
the
can
right tool
hold
to
them
contest like
behind
the
the
Soldier
line.
or the Junkrat.
He's going to be way in the back with it. Now going to be able to contest from the high ground here a little bit as it's going to swerve around, and they
We just
find the
tire from a
kill
safe
on
location, but we ended up not getting anything. That's fine. Zones them for a while.
Allow for them to
And
make the
they're
play
getting
here.
like so hard spammed here in the choke. I would have liked him to just stand closer on the right so he isn't getting hit by like hit scan and orbs.
Lobbing nades at you. I mean, what do you do? They can't even get past it. They're trying to heal themselves up to make a push.
You can see how hard we're able to like spam them in the choke here.
As Reinhardt narrowly escapes.
And people are just tanking grenades all the time.
Way to move in off this Earth Shatter comes down. It's going to be blocked by Rampant Rhino, and that could be their call to move forward.
So if you play a bit on the right, there's like the box that you can play around too, which I think is a better like line of sight tool that you can use.
Realistically, only one person's going to be able to do anything about that, and that's going to
And then we end up just like comboing ults on them over and over again here, where we just have one person hiding, whether it be the Rhine or the Zarya, just like sitting in secret,
and to a degree
looking for
Paintbrush as
combos.
well, and as he goes across, the Plug's going to be able to hit him completely while his defense matrix is up. And speaking of the Plug, look at him just sneaking away. Gonna find a Graviton here
Big
onto
grab.
the back line. Gets everybody into it actually.
Oh, they're gonna go ahead and drop everything into this one here. It's dare to say it again. Another team wipe off the back of the Graviton Surge, the tactical visor as well. They even dropped the nano boost, I believe. It went on to like Dantana, I think, from the side of
Sugar goes for another risky tire, dude. He ends up getting punished for it.
It's going to take everything they've got to try to make a push, make a run for this map.
He went for way too many of these series where he just gets punished for it. He doesn't end up getting enough value off what would be a good flank tire because he just gets killed during the tire, or there's no room for him to get rezzed or anything. So
Graviton is everything here. You need to find the kill onto the Mercy here, who's all the way in the background. We see the grabs come down. They actually don't even get the Mercy, but they do with the with the self-destruct. How did he pull that off?
that was pretty interesting grab. Like they end up just like launching it really far back and hitting our Mercy Zen.
He launched that Graviton Surge into the back. He wasn't able to get back with his shield in time, so they've got a fighting chance.
We just need to sustain here. Like we just have Rampant just playing aggressive, like holding shield and like have everyone poking him and come back with our support ults.
He's got 2 resurrects to use. He's going to bring up Sugar Free. Graviton Surge is here. They're going to do it again. The Riptire, excuse me, that's going to be just Sugar Free. No Riptire necessary here. He drops them all in the Graviton Surge from the Plug.
We kill the Tracer, and that's about it.
I don't know if